All right, welcome everyone. Today, we're going to jump into a real practical adventure. We're going to completely demystify what it takes to buy property in Spain if you're a foreigner.
You know the dream, right? So many of us have it. Owning a little piece of Spain. Maybe something like a rustic stone cabin, what they call a cabaña pasiega, just nestled away in the gorgeous green hills of Cantabria. But then, reality hits. And the whole process can feel, well, totally overwhelming. It's like staring at this massive bureaucratic maze. But don't you worry, because today, we're handing you the map to get through it. Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to follow the journey of our fictional buyer, Alex, through 5 key stages. Getting started with the NIE, handling contracts, the big day with the notary, understanding the real costs, and finally, the last steps to becoming a homeowner. This is our roadmap. All right, first things first. We're starting with the dream, and the single most important document you or Alex will need to get started. It's an absolute must-have. And that document is the NIE, the Número de Identificación de Extranjero. Honestly, you can think of it as your golden ticket for pretty much any legal or financial stuff in Spain. You want to sign the deed, pay taxes, get the lights turned on? You need an NEI. There's just no way around it. So here's where it gets a little more specific. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. As you can see, the kind of NIE Alex needs really depends on 2 big questions. Is he an EU citizen? And is he planning to actually live in Spain long-term? That's going to change the type of NIE he applies for. So how do you get one? Well, you've got 2 main options. You can either do it back in your home country at a Spanish consulate, or you can do it once you're in Spain. But listen, the big takeaway here is to plan ahead. Seriously, this process can take a while, and it's the very first gate you have to get through on this whole adventure. Okay, moving on. Alex has his NIE in hand, and he's found it, the perfect cabaña. So what's next? Well, now he has to lock it down legally before he hands over all that cash. Now, to lock it down, you're usually looking at 2 different preliminary contracts. First up is the reserva. Think of this as a small holding deposit just to take the property off the market. It's not always required. But the second one, the arjes, well, that's the big one. That's the serious, legally binding agreement. And this contrato de arras is absolutely crucial. Why? Because it puts skin in the game for both sides. It's all about commitment. If the seller gets cold feet and backs out, they have to pay back double the deposit. Ouch. And if Alex, the buyer, decides to walk away, he loses his 10% deposit. It keeps everyone honest. And this quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. This is exactly why getting some professional legal help is a no-brainer. Before you even think about signing a binding contract like the Ares, you absolutely have to get someone to do their homework, to check the property records for any hidden debts or nasty surprises. Trust me, it can save you a world of pain down the road. All right, the legal checks are done, the money's all lined up. Now we get to the main event, the climax of Alex's entire adventure, the final signing. This is it. The whole thing goes down in one big meeting in front of a public official called a notary. They're like the referee, making sure everything is legit and above board. They'll verify everyone's identity, Alex makes the final payment, you sign the deed, and then, the moment of truth, you get the keys. That document you sign is called the Escritura Pública, and it's everything. It is the official final title deed. This piece of paper is what makes Alex the one and only undisputed owner of his brand new cabaña. So Alex has the keys, awesome. But, and this is a big but, his checkbook isn't quite done yet. This is super important to remember. The price you see on the listing is never the final price you actually pay. The biggest chunk of extra cost comes from the main purchase tax. And what you pay depends on one simple thing. Is the property brand new or is it a resale? For a new home, it's VAT. But for a resale, like Alex's cabaña, he's going to be paying something called ITP, or property transfer tax. Now here's a detail you cannot miss. This ITP tax isn't the same everywhere in Spain. The rate changes depending on the region. So for Alex's cabin in Cantabria, you can see right here, the rate is a flat 10% of the purchase price. That's a serious chunk of change, so you absolutely have to know the specific rate for the area you're buying in. And it's not just the big tax either. You've got a budget for all the other little things that add up. You know, you've got your notary fees, the cost to register the property, and maybe some other administrative costs for paperwork and appraisals. So, what's the bottom line? A really solid rule of thumb is to take the price of the house and just add another 10 to 15% on top for all these extra taxes and fees. Seriously, Do that, and you'll save yourself from any nasty financial surprises.
All right, we're on the home stretch now. The purchase is officially done, but Alex still has a few more items to tick off his to-do list.
These last steps are non-negotiable. First, he's got to pay that ITP tax, and there's a 30-day deadline for that. Second, he needs to officially register his ownership at the property registry. And finally, get all the utilities, water, electricity, the whole shebang switched over into his name. And owning a home in Spain isn't a one-and-done deal. There are ongoing responsibilities. Every single year, Alex is going to have to pay the local property tax, which is called IBI. And because he's a non-resident, he'll also have to pay a non-resident income tax, get this, even if he never rents the place out.
Look, I know the whole process can sound pretty intimidating when you lay it all out like this, but the key takeaway from all our research is that as long as you have the right info and maybe a little guidance, it's actually a totally manageable process.
So we've taken that scary-looking maze and turned it into a clear, step-by-step path. You now have the map for your own adventure. The only question left is, are you ready to start yours?